Thank you so much, Suleiman of Tumbo, for that countdown. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. March 18th, 2020 marked the first day of Nairobi Metropolitan Service. This is after His Excellency, the Governor of Nairobi, Mike Movisonko, signed a deed of transfer that saw key functions transferred from the county government to the national government. Some of those key functions included health aspect, transport, public works, planning and management. These functions were handed over to a general, a Major General, who was going to oversee the implementation of this project under the national government. On June 30th, 2020, a 100 days report was handed over to His Excellency the President on the progress and the achievement made thus far. And today we are interviewing the man who was behind those achievements, Honorable General, Director General, Maj Gen Mohammed Badi. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa, for making time to be here with us this afternoon.
Thank you. It's an honor for me to be here. Shukran.
Thanks so much. Mheshimiwa, first things first, 100 and something days. How has it been? Is it a hot seat? How has it been?
Well, it has been challenging. First and foremost, I come from military background.
Yeah.
So all challenges are there for us to change them into opportunities. Mm-hmm. So it cannot be so hot if you have the right mindset of changing all the challenges into opportunities. Mm-hmm. So first and foremost, I studied the systems that are in place, looked at what challenges are ahead, accepted them, and started working the same day. I hit the ground running.
Yeah.
I was appointed in State House that afternoon, and immediately after being sworn in, I just went home to change from uniform into civilian clothes, and I was at Wakulima Market. Wow. Starting clearing the garbage that had heaped up from months. Yes. So my first night, I started my work the same night I was appointed, and from there onwards, I set the ball rolling that if I could work at night, so can everybody else.
Interesting, interesting, General. And that's so you already know what was supposed to be done by the time you're going to the office?
Yes, those challenges were given to me that afternoon. Mm-hmm. I studied them, and to lead by example, that's why I myself was on ground in the garbage collection. The following morning, I met all my heads of department. Of course, it was just skeleton at then, but I briefed them on my strategy and the way forward. And I'm very happy I got very cooperative officers from various ministries that were posted to NMS, and we hit the ground running immediately on all the aspects of the transferred functions that we were given.
General, the previous county chiefs who have headed this town, talk of His Excellency Dr. Alvin Skidero and His Excellency Mike Movisonko, they blamed the cartels for not fast-tracking the development as they wished. So, is it true that there are cartels in this county controlling the town? And if yes, if they're there, then how did you manage to bypass them and achieve whatever you've achieved in those 100 days?
Cartels are not people you see physically. So they exist everywhere, and not only in this county, but I can say all over the world. Mm-hmm. Cartels are people who do not want to follow the system to do things right. Okay. So if there are any, I have not met them physically, but what I've done to curb what they are doing is to ensure that all systems run smoothly accordingly to how they've been set to work. If you follow every system as per the law, then nothing goes wrong.
So there were frustrations. Are you confirming that there were frustrations when you're trying to deliver to the people of Nairobi?
There may be some, But I say I come from a military background. So every challenge, I take it as an opportunity. And mine is to ensure that those opportunities are achieved. So whatever challenges I've met, they have not stopped me from my performance. And first and foremost, I looked at the task that I was tasked by His Excellency the President, what is to be achieved in those 100 days. It may have looked like an uphill task, but I'm very thankful to my deputy, my staff, and the entire government, because I'm part of national government, and I can say I achieve these tasks with the whole of government approach. Most of the tasks that were given, we did it as a multi-agency, and that's why I was able to achieve all my tasks 100% and over in some cases using the multi-agency approach. Remember that when I was appointed, there were several court injunctions that went in, even stopping the budget. But when we work with the whole of government approach, I use the other ministry resources to ensure that nothing could hinder my task to be achieved within 100 days.
Interesting, Mheshimiwa. Talk to something that has been a recurrent issue in Nairobi, a recurrent problem in Nairobi, and that is the whole aspect of water. And you have dug, looking at your report of the first 100 days, you've dug at least 93 boreholes within the first 100 days. How practical, how is this, how did you achieve this?
As I said, I think my military background helped. And within the military, I was at a time heading some logistics requirement for the military. Remember, the military, when they go to a war or a difficult area, first and foremost, they face challenge of water. So we usually have our own military engineers that before the troops arrive, they dig the borehole with a minimum time so that when the troops arrive, they have clean and safe water to drink from. Remember, you are in hostile ground, so you cannot afford just to pick water from any source. Okay. Bearing this in mind, I came with the attitude that all 93 boreholes using multi-agency approach of Ministry of Water and Sanitization, Earthy Board, who are actually building water infrastructure in the country. So I use both Ministry of Water, Earthy Water contracts to ensure that all the boreholes within the informal sector and disadvantaged communities are distributed equally to different contractors, and I personally supervise to ensure that day-to-day work was done according to the standards that were specified in the contract, and we were able to achieve the 93 boreholes within 2 months.
Then what does that leave the water infrastructure that had already been set by the county government initially? The water infrastructure in terms of what was the infrastructure, the piping that were distributing water. Wasn't it easier and cheaper to refurbish and first lift the infrastructure that was there before instead of drilling new boreholes?
First and foremost, those 93 boreholes were sunk in informal settlements. Okay. And disadvantaged areas. You will find area of Eastlands has never seen water, leave alone during the county government administration, but even when there was city council, water never reached those disadvantaged communities. So first and foremost, I would like to say in those disadvantaged areas, there was, the infrastructure is there, but there was no water. In the informal settlements, we talk about Kibera, Korokocho, Mukuru, Mathare, they have no water infrastructure. So it's completely not there. It's not that I disturbed the already existing infrastructure, but the water was not there. So we went for those because they were vulnerable communities. Fortunate or unfortunately, my appointed coincided with the beginning of COVID-19. So these were people who were vulnerable. So my approach is first to reach the people who are vulnerable and very needy of water, but concurrently, I help with the help of Nairobi Water Board to ensure that all areas in Nairobi improved in water delivery.
Thanks so much, Mr. So
we have managed a lot. There are some areas like Langata who had never had water for the last 6 and 7 years. So first and foremost, apart from digging boreholes, I also, with the help of Ministry of Water and His Excellency the President, we were able to recall 10 water bowsers from different counties to come and distribute free water to all the needy areas, from informal settlement to all the areas that needed water. 2, I took upon myself to ensure that all illegal water connections were disconnected, and this enabled even water to flow, because there was a lot of legal disconnection in areas like Kibra and other informal settlements. When I stopped them, people of Langata started enjoying water after 6 years of absence.
Wow, wow. So right now you can say comfortably that the Nairobi County residents have quote-unquote efficient water supply, especially in the informal settlements?
In informal settlements, yes, I'm meeting the needs, but Nairobi has got a huge problem of water. Currently, Nairobi requires over 800,000 cubic meters a day of water. The water that is flowing in the pipes is 525,000 cubic meters per day. So if you see, there's already a shortfall of almost 300,000 cubic meters a day. So that's a problem, infrastructure problem. So we are addressing that. We are opening up Northern Corridor, which will supply water with 140,000 cubic meters a day. So within a short time, say within the next 2 to 3 months, Nairobi water rationing will reduce. There'll be water in every household every day.
Looking at matters transport, thanks so much, General, for your response on that. And we are optimistic. Inshallah, we'll invite you once again to talk about the topic of water. Looking at matters transport, and we've seen it is one thing that we have been passionate about, over and above it being part of your mandate to improve the transport system within the county. Illegal parking, despite the infrastructural facelift to reduce the parking. First of all, is that one of the purpose to reduce the parking spaces within the county?
Well, that is not our aim or our intention. What we are creating right now is non-motorable trackways or transportation, what we call NMT corridors. And in any modern city, there are corridors reserved for people to walk, people to cycle. So that was part of my 100 days accomplishment, at which I was able, through Kenyatta Avenue, Muindimbugu Street and Wabera, to create walking and cycling paths. That will not end there. I'm going to connect the whole of CBD, the Central Business District, with walkways and cycling path that will now connect to all estates surrounding Nairobi.
But again, this is coming at the expense of the vehicles that used to park on the roadside, right?
Yes, true. But we are also now improving parking spaces. We are going to formally start underground parking. There will be 2 to 3 floors underground parking. We are starting with Sunken Park. We saw a very good example that was shown to us by the Catholic Church.
Okay.
So they have already started building, and I think theirs is complete, the underground parking, taking over 1,000 vehicles in one parking space. So that is the way to go. Nobody will be disadvantaged. Second, we have a detailed plan of all parking areas outside the CBD, not only for the private vehicles, but even for the matatus and other public vehicles that will not be allowed to enter CBD, but they'll have reserved areas for them according to their routes. They will park outside CBD. We will have BRT system, the new buses that will bring people from this station and parking areas into CBD. We have also ordered the trains that will be transversing between the CBD and these parking areas. Those trains should be in the country within the next 1 month. So we have a detailed plan of ensuring that there is no traffic jam.
Okay.
Two, we have ensured that all the traffic lights that were not working, some had very new contracts, but issues of non-payment was what made the contractors abandon their work. We have already recalled them, paid them their money, and we are now, most of the lights within CBD are up and operational, running, and we intend to continue till every traffic light within Nairobi County is working.
Thanks so much, General, for that. We've mentioned about creating the pathways for cyclists and the pedestrians. Thank you so much. That's something that's that's something that's notable, and a lot of city residents have seen, and even a lot of praises. Thank you so much for that. However, along the same lines, Director General, what measures are we putting in place to protect the cyclists and the pedestrians from the reckless drivers? We have seen cyclists on the streets of Nairobi who are complaining of some reckless accidents. Do you have any measures put in place to protect them from such?
Yes, if you look at the Kenyatta Avenue and Mwindimbingu Street, you'll find all the cycling lanes are protected with a protruding pavement, so that there can be no crossover with a vehicle jumping the line to enter into the cycle line. Before, the cyclists used to drive on the same road as the vehicle, and that's why you found a lot of accidents between either the vehicle and the cyclist, or the vehicle and pedestrian crossing the road. But now this will be avoided by the strict observance of cycling sticking in their lane, which is completely marked as pink or red, and walking pedestrians, their path is marked with the dark gray or black. So there'll be no crossing. The places where cyclists and motorists meet, there will be zebra crossing, and again traffic lights that will ensure safety of the cyclists and all those who are walking.
Thanks so much, Moshimio, for that. Now, again, when the development and the first lifting of the roads were done, then it forced the motorists who were used to be parking around the CBD to move around and look for other alternative parkings, because obviously their parkings were affected. Where they used to park, rather, they were affected. This brought about a bottleneck along streets of Kenyatta Avenue, Wabera Street in Banda, and escalated a problem that was even in existence even before the road construction. Talk of the parking boys. It has become hectic to drive into Jamia. To join from Kimathi Street, Banda Street, and then you join Banda Close, it can take you up to 1.5 hours, caused by the parking boys who are bringing about some bottleneck around those streets, Mheshimiwa. Do you have a solution for this?
Yes. First of all, we have not destroyed all the parking. There's still parking left, despite the NMT corridors. We still have ample parking space left. We are going to observe strict adherence to the traffic rules. The parking spaces will be created soon. There are a lot of parking spaces that are still empty within the city. The issue of parking buoys will be addressed. As we are speaking, I have employed over 100 street families in building Grogan Road that had been abandoned or was almost non-existent because it was already built on it. That road, I think, disappeared more than 10 years ago. But soon, His Excellency the President will officially open it. And that road, I can proudly say, was actually built by the street families.
Wow, wow, wow. So the parking buoys, you say, are going to be addressed, one, by employment, right?
Yes.
What about the bottlenecks that are being caused on the streets of Nairobi? Not just Kenyatta Avenue and Banda Street, but there are other streets as well that are facing similar problems.
As I said, we have the street lights now working. Two, I have enough enforcement officers, or what we call in the county traffic marshals, who will be guiding the traffic as they come in or get out of the city. We have already embarked on creating enough public spaces. We are undergoing now an electronic way of parking.
Yeah.
So these systems are in place and we'll soon launch them. When you leave your house, you will know which parking is available within the Nairobians to be patient. Soon there are very good things coming on their way.
Thanks so much, Mheshimiwa. But before we go on a break, one last question. Thanks so much for the road and the infrastructure that we have seen. However, Nairobi has a problem. We have been going through a problem every rainy season, the flood issues. Will the current development sustain the flood issues in the rainy season, the flood menace in the rainy season?
Yes. If the roads were built with proper drainage, they would not cause these problems.
Okay.
The biggest hassle that has been on Nairobi roads is the drainage have been abandoned where they were. They've been blocked, clogged. People have been throwing rubbish. Some of them even built on. So my first task was to ensure each and every drainage within the CBD and going outwards are working. Two, any contractors who takes up any new road must ensure that there is a proper drainage to take away all the water that usually floods the roads. So we have already embarked. It's not an easy task, but that I assure Nairobians that the issue of water clogging the roads will be history.
Thank you so much, Director General. That is the Director General, Major General Mohammed Badi, right here in Studio 21951 is our SMS line. We're going to take a very short break, but again, when we come back, we're going to look at matters administration and some of your questions that you had pre-sent even earlier on 21951. Keep it Horizon TV, and this is Live Real Talk. Please do not go away. We're going to be back in a moment.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
From Monday to Friday every week, Horizon TV, in collaboration with the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, will bring you both primary and secondary school subjects. Dear students, don't miss this opportunity every Monday to Friday from 8 to 9 a.m. and 4 to 4:30 p.m.
قال تعالى في محكم تنزيله بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم
Ninasaha kutoka pwani.
هذا الدين قال الله قال الرسول قال الصحابة هم أولو العرفان انتهى.
Ili kuongoza kwenye njia iliyonyoka.
Sikizeni hadithi hii ya Mtume alayhi salatu wasalam.
Hakuna atakayeweza kumfungia mtu mlango ambaye Mwenyezi Mungu aliyemfungulia.
Kuimarisha imani yako.
ثبت قلوبنا على دينك وعلى طاعتك.
Ungana na mashekh wetu kutoka pwani kwenye mimbar.
Mimbar zinamwakilisha Mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Ni Jumamosi na wakati saa 3 usiku katika Horizon TV, runinga uipendayo.
Pearls of Wisdom.
Iyadh ibn Himar, may Allah be pleased with him, narrated that the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Verily, Allah has revealed to me that you must be humble towards one another, so that no one oppresses another or boasts to another."
Thanks so much for keeping it live. Real Talk with your host here, right here, Faisal Kassim, and we are hosting Major General, Director General Mohammed Badi, who is in charge of the Nairobi Metropolitan Service. A question coming here from Said Ali from Kibra saying, "Assalamu alaikum, General, congratulations for your achievement you've made within the shortest period in Nairobi. You have stopped developments in Kibra for 2 years, except for Olympic and Ayani Estate. What about Salama and for Jesus? These are two estates that are not mentioned. Why is that, sir?"
I'd like to thank him for his question.
Yes.
When I moved in all informal sector, not only Kibra, but Korokocho, Mukuru, and Madare, first was to understand how the ground is and how to achieve service delivery within those informal sector. And he has just talked about Ayani and Olympics, but in Kibra, for his information, if he's from Kibra, there are 10 divisions. And we are addressing all 10 of them equally. First of all, I have dug over 5, I think it's around 6 boreholes within Kibra. So that is to address the current shortages. We have the Kazi Vijana Mtaani initiative, which over 1,000 youths have been employed from Kibra. One, to clear the drainage that are actually blocking the roads and other drainages. We have people working on solid waste or garbage collection. We have people that have been trained that are disinfecting all the Kibra areas. And this work has been divided into all the 10 parts of Kibra. So mine is not to look or prioritize any area in Kibra, but it is to address all of them equally in a transparent manner.
Interesting. Funny enough, there is a question as well, still on the issue of Kibra. Assalamu alaikum. What is government agenda for Kibra, and will it affect the Nubian 288 piece of land that was handed over by the government in 2017?
Well, Kibra first, it was the plea of Kibra resident when I declared or gazetted Mukuru settlement as a special planning area. I was approached by community leaders of Kibra, the political leadership from MPs to MCA in Kibra, to make Kibra a special planning area too. Once an area is gazetted as a special planning area, there are priorities that can be fast-tracked in terms of development, whether it's roads, whether it's buildings, and so forth, that do not have to go through the long normal procedure of approval. Theirs get first preference. If the road was supposed to be 18 meters, it can be reduced up to 12 to ensure that that major road takes place or is built in time. If a road was 12 meters, it's allowed to be reduced up to 9 meters to ensure that that minor road is made. We are all taking these points in consideration so that we know all the informal settlements are usually over-congested. So space for development, like building of roads, putting up sewer lines, putting up water lines, the space is already restricted. And that is why you see in most informal settlements, when there is a disaster, the fire vehicle can't reach the location. The perfect example was Gikomba Market, which burnt from night up to morning because the fire vehicles could not access. The roads were blocked by buildings, and so the people suffered. We had actually to rely on Kenya Air Force to put off the fire using helicopter and using the bucket system that they have special plastic buckets that take water from ponds or lakes and come and drop them into the fire site. But that is a very expensive way of putting fire. So ours is to ensure all the informal settlements have enough corridors or ways that vehicles like fire, like ambulance, police vehicles can be able to reach any Mwananchi within Kibra and any other informal settlement. So these developments are not affecting any community. I would like to assure the Nubian community, who are Muslims just like us and others, that they will get the best from the government.
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa. You've mentioned about restrictions, space restrictions in terms of development, coming in as a hindrance factor in terms of development. So basically there is an opportunity cost to this development. There is something that has to be sacrificed, correct?
Yes.
So what are some of these things that they have to be sacrificed? This development coming in at a cost of what exactly in Nairobi?
Unfortunately, when these areas were planned several years ago, there are proper planning of all developments in all of these informal settlement and upcoming urban settlements. There is pathways that are created for roads, for water, sewerage, and provision of electricity. Now you'll find in most of these informal settlements, due to negligence, I can say, by past authorities, these areas were neglected and people actually build on roads and roads reserve. So I'm sorry to say so, the expense will be to remove the people who have illegally built on the roads. We have already started in Mukuru, and I'm very pleased to announce that we call all the community, the administration elders, the political elders, and we had a very fruitful discussion that those developments will come at the expense of removing their houses that were built on the road. But we did not want to go into the administrative way of breaking them down. So we ask the house owners to remove the structures, engaging all the elders, the political leadership, and the community leadership. And for those who are not able to put down their infrastructure due to labor cost and so forth, we also provided labor to them to help them move their infrastructure out of the roads. So a lot of houses have been dismantled in Mukuru, and it's actually done by their own owners, the owners of those houses, and the youth leaders and youth groups that have been employed by government to help into development.
Thanks so much, Director General, for your answer on that. Now, 3.5 billion allocated to you by the Nairobi County Assembly. Of course, according to another site, there is at least 24.6 billion at your disposal in terms of development. Is this enough for your plan up to 2022 when your term ends as the Director General of NMS?
It's not enough, leave alone 2022. This is only for one financial year. So I will request for more come 2021.
Wow.
So this budget, actually the 3.5 billion was for me to finish financial year 2019-2020, which finished end of last month. You can see that I quickly embarked on all the stalled projects.
Yeah.
And the money is not enough, as I said. But being in the national government, I would like to thank His Excellency for mobilizing the whole of government approach in able to me to give service delivery to all the wananchi living in Nairobi County. Nice. This financial year, 2020-2021, I've been allocated that budget, and in any government allocation, the budget is never enough to complete all the current existing problem. But we have prioritized the most hurting areas, and ours will be to embark to ensure that service delivery is given. For example, during my takeover of those 4 functions, we have seen that all informal settlements do not have a single public hospital or dispensary. Mukuru, for example, if you call Mukuru, there are 5 Mukurus. Mukuru kwa Njenga, the 3 big ones, Mukuru kwa Njenga, Mukuru kwa Ruben, Mukuru Viwandani, then followed by Pipeline and others. If you count the population living in that informal settlement, it's more than 500,000. Now there is a single dispensary which has been built by the Catholic community that has 8-bed capacity. So you can imagine a dispensary with 8 beds. How can it surely cater for 500,000 people? That is totally injustice. In order to reverse this process, during my next 100 days, I have been tasked to build 24 hospitals within a period of 100 days, not only to build the infrastructure, but those hospitals should be up and running with complete medical equipment. Wow. And I intend to achieve it in the next 100 days.
That is only one slum, Mushime, because it's in tandem with my next question, which we have seen that the coronavirus cases has been on an ascending trajectory, and the president has mandated the county chiefs to take lead in addressing this pandemic. Yes, in the next 100 days, you're going to build at least 24 hospitals in that one area. What about the rest of Nairobi in handling the coronavirus, sir? What do you plan for that?
First and foremost, I would like to say that 24 hospitals cannot be built in one area. 24 hospitals are in all Nairobi County informal settlements.
Okay.
First and foremost, as I earlier said, the issue of washing hands, provision of soap and sanitizer was most critical to people who cannot afford it. So we started embarking on drilling the boreholes, and these are 93, which I completed within my first 100 days assignment. I have been tasked now, not only these informal settlements surrounding Nairobi city that I built, I must now reach out to the upcountry areas within Nairobi County to ensure that they also have water, soap, and sanitation. This is to embark on combating COVID. I have been tasked in my next 100 days to complete another 100 boreholes, which I intend to complete in the next 2 months, that will give water to all the needy families that have no access to water. We are also, apart from the boreholes, in every boreholes, we are providing the pump and building a 100,000 liter tank, stainless steel on top of the borehole, to ensure that once the water has been pumped, there will be a 24 hours delivery system to all the people who are needy. We have also embarked on teaching kazi vijana mtaani on sensitization of their communities in terms of COVID-19. So they are spearheading, educating their community. We have also improved services within the county hospitals, that is Mama Lucy, Mbagathi, and others, in order to ensure that there is enough bed capacity to cater for those who are affected by the coronavirus, so that we do not run short of the capacity in terms of bed. Kenyatta is already congested. Kenyatta is a national hospital, and it should actually be a referral hospital, not a hospital to cater for coronavirus. So we have improved the capacity of Mama Lucy Hospital. We have increased almost 90 beds in Mbagathi, 120 in Mama Lucy. Actually, we are building a new wing in Mama Lucy and improving it to a level 5 hospital that will increase its capacity by more 120 beds.
Yeah.
In total, as a county, we are supposed to have 300 bed capacity for isolation for corona. I'm happy to report that with our new developments, we'll have over 500 to 700 bed capacity that will cater for any affected persons. So we are doing our level best. Apart from that, provision of medicine in all hospitals. We are, with the help of World Bank in Mama Lucy, we are going to put an 18 bed facilities that will cater for ICU. In Mbagathi, we are going to get 10 more beds for ICU or ICU rooms. So the capacity of the county hospitals is going to be enhanced to cater for not only coronavirus, but any other diseases like cancer and others that are disturbing the common manage.
Thanks so much, General, for that. Maybe my last two questions, you can combine the answer in one. Public participation, being a general in charge of the county, leading, it's like you have a plan. It's all in your brains. It's all in the plan. You're moving already. What about public participation? How do you ensure public participation in your administration? One, as you're giving us your parting shot for this afternoon's show.
Well, my way of engaging public participation, first and foremost, remember the county is still running. It has various wards representatives in terms of MCAs. I usually engage the county assembly. That also helps me a lot. And I would like to thank the governor and the rest of the county leadership through the speaker that they have been able to spearhead public participation in most of the areas that are required new legislation or awareness. The MCAs of Nairobi County, I would like to thank each and every one of them through the Honorable Speaker. They've been very cooperative, and as we are talking, they are engaged in public participation to ensure that any new reforms or legislation, the public are aware, they buy into it before they pass it in the county assembly so that I can implement it. So I would like to thank each and every political leader within the county for their cooperation and to help to enable me achieve my objectives.
Wow. Thanks so much. Parting shot, General, as you're finalizing the show. Parting shot, your message to our viewers back at home who are watching this afternoon.
I would like to thank most of the county residents for their cooperation, especially to ensure that each and every new infrastructure that I would like to make, they cooperate from the community leaders to the political leaders to the administrative leadership to ensure that each and every person within the county is aware. Development definitely comes at a cost, but we can help each other to ensure that we never go back to the situation which we were. So I would urge Nairobi to be patient. There is a lot of good things coming, and that I ensure in the name of Allah that it will be achieved.
Wow. Thank you so much. Very, very, very strong words. I mean. And thank you so much, Director General Mohammed Badi, for your time and making time for us this afternoon and sharing with us your plans and your achievements. We will love to host you once again to talk about the plan for the next 100 days and, of course, where you would like Kenyans to come in and support, because there is that notion that you're just working all by yourself. Thank you so much, Director General, for making time for us. I need to give a special appreciation to Monica and Mr. David Ochieng right here on TV station. Thank you so much, my producer, Suleiman Tumba, and my crew. Thank you so much, our viewers. And I need to apologize for we did not pick up your calls because of time, and we had questions already. Thanks so much for all those who sent your messages. Mashima, by the way, we had a lot of messages congratulating you on our 21951 SMS code. A lot of people are congratulating you for the job well done. We still do congratulate you. Thanks so much to our beloved viewers back at home. Thank you so much. I've been your host, Faisal Kassim. See you next week, same place, same time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Just a minute.